Hi everyone, I'm Airier, and this might come as a huge surprise to maybe one person. I am a massive geek. And as a massive geek, I spent a lot of my time reading fan fiction. Yeah. So, to prove my geekiness, for the one person who probably didn't know that, I reached out to one of my favorite fan fiction authors and got him to okay, through completely legal means that did not involve a bribe of ponies or wives. Just don't ask. Really, don't ask. It was weird. I mean, good reasons. I got him to okay letting me do a reading of his story. And to make it interesting, I also hired an artist to do some picture work. And it turned out fucking great. What we're going to be looking at today is a reading from Stewart on Space Battle of his breakout writing piece, Ash, or A Skittering Heart for short. Yeah, I got that backwards, but I don't really care. I'm just a huge fan of this to the point where whenever he updates, usually around 12:30 at night, and right as I'm about to go to bed, it's like, well, oh, he put out 30,000 words of writing. Well, I'm not sleeping tonight. There was the tap-tap sound of heels on hard wood. Then Jess walked out of the dollhouse, a smile curling her lips at the sound of Sabah, threatening fucking Uber and Lead with dismemberment and fashion crime through the computer screen. Red in her face, her words slurred. It got a chuckle from her, though the fight seemed to be wrapping up, with Taylor kicking ass and taking names once again. But her phone had fucking buzzed before she could see how it finished. The memory of the message was enough to wipe the smile off Jess's face. The car was waiting for her, like he fucking said it would be. Black, normal, and low-key. And all the more conspicuous because of it. Coyle's type of vehicle. Jess was another mask, one she had no problem giving out to Coyle at the start. When their business was done, Jess would be hung in the closet like everyone else. Now, knowing that he knew Jess was here, made it feel like Jess had dirtied the dollhouse somehow. Getting into the back, she was bloody relieved to see that there was a black window, tinted, so she could barely see the drivers as they couldn't see her. Not that it really mattered, but, well, it was the fucking principle of the thing. You the agent? The guy driving asked gruffly. Jess opened her large handbag. Colorful material sat at the bottom, the bells mostly wrapped to muffle the jingles. You the backup? She'd fired back, pulling her slut shoes off. Red Dawn sets? Driver asked. Jess. Circus, rolled her eyes. White Snake rises. God, these codes are so fucking stupid, Circus complained. The other guy in the passenger seat chuckled. You can tell the boss if you want, passenger offered, his shadowy head half turned to her. Circus snorted as she pulled on her tight-skinned outfit. Doing the makeup in the car would be fucking hell, so the best keep it simple this time. Pity she couldn't put it on with her power like she could take it off. Came out mangled every time. Anyway, white face, red lips, black eyes, full socket. I'd rather chew fucking glass, Circus quipped back snidely. As they drove off, Circus, still doing her makeup, she pondered Coyle's message. The snake had sounded excited. The entire protectorate and police force were in a shitstorm over the Canary trial and the disappearance of Canary and Keynote. A Cape kidnapping on live television by a pair of bloody villains and bound to kick the hornet's nest, she supposed. Circuit's lips curled as she tried to apply the lipstick. Trust fucking Coyle to take advantage of an emergency. The rest of the ride was silent as Circus added the finishing touches to her makeup. Another day, another job, another crime. And after this, well, it was goodbye, Jess. Kino would be coming for her, and like fucking hell did she want that girl out for her blood. So Jess would have to become a Mona, or Ginger, or a Beatrix, or a... No, she would never be that weak little girl ever again. Like the one Coyle was going after. The Blofeld wannabe wanted his prize. The one he kept fucking missing out on. He'd even offered to end her contract after this, pay her double to get out of the fucking town too. It was a fucked up thing Coyle had over her, and now he was worried that she was compromised, too attached to everything to do what she needed. Circus wanted to shout, but couldn't be bothered talking to the suits, who would probably ask questions if she did. Because damn right, he was right. Circus, Jess, had become fucking attached. She took a deep breath. She wasn't Jess. Jess died the moment she stepped into the car. Jess died, never hurting anyone else ever again. Circus was all that was left. The only thing that was ever going to be fucking left. Circus the bloody clown. Circus the mad jester. Circus the joke. Circus felt the knife appear in her hand, its weight familiar and comforting. It was just a normal knife, with a slight curve, and leather-wrapped handle, easy to hold. She stared down at it. Jess was now immortalized, in a way Circus would never have allowed, could not allow. The car parked smoothly in an underground garage. The building above them was fucking immense. Circus could just tell that by the support pillars around them, huge and thick. She tried to think about the job, but her mind wandered back to Saba, huffing at the desk, drink in hand while typing furiously, swearing as much as Circus normally did. She thought of Taylor owning Uber, Ifrit roaring approval at the screen, well, squeaking, in delight, really. Just thought about the dollhouse and Ingrid, the late nights where they both slaved over orders, paperwork, employee salaries, worried about Taylor's health, and plotted to get her together with Saba. It would do them both a world of good if they just sleep together already. For fuck's sake, they lived in the same house for 4 months now! Jess had liked the nights when Ingrid put on the radio and set it to the good station, where steel guitars and hardened drums ruled across airwaves. Jess had liked joking with Ingrid, or staying in the office, penning odd things, getting drunk off the good stuff. It was a routine she had never allowed herself before, and now that she'd had it, she'd missed it so much already. It was normal. It was a wall to lean on when she'd refuse every other. Now Coyle had come at her with a sledgehammer. Jess had to give up her wall, or there would be no wall left, not for her. We're here. The target's on the 18th floor, room 5, 2 guards stationed outside the door, more in the rooms on either side. We've got men in place to take them out. These are PRT soldiers, tough, well-trained, and well-equipped, but they won't risk shooting if they think they have a target. The room itself has no guards inside, out of respect for privacy. A few of the guards were moved off-site to deal with the court fiasco going on just now, the driver said as he opened the door for her. How do you plan to get to the floor? We're not exactly fucking subtle, Circus said coldly, as she slammed the car door shut and moved to stand in the shadow of the pillar, in case some bystander drove past and fucking spotted her. Employee elevator. It goes up to every floor. Coyle apparently managed to bribe one of the chefs for his card. Guy's off to Mexico as of this morning. You need to swipe the card in a slot to gain access to the elevator. To stop the drunken guests from using it, I guess. The door to the far end of the garage goes near the kitchens, a delivery drop-off point. The elevator is located just outside. We get in, go straight up, then move in, the driver said in the same gruff tone, like he smoked way too many. Circus idly noted that he was a Cuban man, coffee-skinned with hard muscle and a hard face. The passenger, younger, white guy, laugh lines ran down his face. They ill-suited a guy who worked for Coyle. Circus snorted at the thought. Great, but that still leaves us with how many fucking guards to get past? Circus asked. The driver looked at her. About 12, 2 outside, 5 in each room on either side, he answered. The passenger spoke up then. Don't worry, sweet cheeks. We got backup waiting for us, booked in the last few days. Mostly recon, but they can help us. The driver said, his voice warm, almost sugary. Sound like a fucking asshole. Circus nodded slowly. Let's go then. Card? Circus asked the driver and held up a white piece of plastic. The driver opened the trunk and pulled out 2 gym bags, handing one to the driver. Without a word, they moved towards the door at the far end, leaving Circus to watch them for a few seconds. Another day, another job, another choice. The numbers lit up as they waited. 10, 11, 12, 13. Each number that lit up made Jess's heart pump faster. The two men on either side of her were as cool as stone, Passenger even whistling quietly, like they weren't here to kill people, and worse. It made Circus's fucking stomach turn. 14, 15, 16. Each man now had 2 handheld weapons, one in their hands, another in their belts, along with a series of black cylinders at their feet. Our colleague is going to blow a small explosive in about 15 seconds in the main power room. We have about 10 seconds or so before the backup generators come online, and about 5 or so before the first guard comes out the door, gun drawn. When the light goes out, we have to make sure these are already pulled and drawn. Driver explained, nudging the tubes at his feet. 17. Grenades? No. Flashbangs? Circus asked, trying not to sound completely fucking freaked out. Passenger nodded. When the light goes out, the eye expands to see in the dark, so sudden light can make you blind for a second or two. Imagine what these puppies would do. Passenger held one up, smiling. Circus eyed it. Sounded like a pain in the fucking ass. 18. The door opened and they waited for a few seconds, and the hall was plunged into darkness as the building shook. There was a clink, and Circus hadn't adopted enough to see what was going on. Get back! A hand roughly yanked her into a wall, face first. A burst of panic came over her, and she squeezed her eyes shut, fucking tight, before there was a loud boom of explosion outside the elevator, and a lot of people began to shouting and panic. Jess blinked as the lights flickered back on, her eyes straining at the dull light, a few spots dancing in front of her eyes despite closing them. Stepping out of the elevator before the doors closed, Jess looked about and felt her fucking stomach rebel again. Driver and passenger, in their black cargo army getup, were calmly shooting at the PRT troopers. One by one, as they tried to fight back, a guard rushed out of the room, his vision untouched, and a woman emerged from the stairs, raised a pistol, and calmly shot him in the back. She was in plainclothes. Plants. Coyle had planted people in the fucking hotel. Driver and passenger looked at each other and then moved into the room on the left side, while the woman was joined by a man in khaki shorts, and together they went into the other room, leaving the middle room, number 5, for Jess. Jess didn't look down at the faces of the men and women. They were covered in full face visors anyways. Why was she even here? Why did Coyle send her to this place when his own men were clearly capable? Test? A sick game? A test of fucking loyalty before he got rid of her. Just opened the door, stepping over the last of the bodies, the last of the people doing their damn jobs. The room was nice in a catalog kind of way. In another time, in another place, Jess would have enjoyed ransacking the place, but now she just felt numb. Numb to the death, numb to the gunfire, numb to the blood at her feet. Sitting on the couch facing her was a young girl. The target, Dina Alcott. The girl was supposed to steal, and wasn't sure she could. She looked at Jess, then, behind her, at the bodies, and her face paled, eyes widening like fucking dinner plates. But she didn't run, didn't cry. "Where's your parents?" Circus finally asked, his silence becoming uncomfortable. Dina looked at her with serious eyes, despite their size. "I convinced them to go to work today. There was an 89% chance they would have died if I stayed together," Dina said, her voice steady despite her obvious fear. And then Jess understood. Everything. Every fucking thing. "You're a thinker, a powerful one, aren't you?" Jess phrased it as a question, but her tone was that of a statement. She already knew the fucking answer. Dina nodded, slipping off the couch and onto her feet. "That's what the PRT people say. They say I can help a lot of people with my power, but my parents put their foot down. They didn't want me becoming some government tool. But I guess the man who wants me, the Snake Man, he won't take no for an answer, will he?" Dina asked softly. Jess shook her head sadly, bells clinking almost mournfully. He's a real fudged head. He's evil. He'll do bad things to you, Jess said, more to herself than to Dina, really. Dina looked out the window, as if saying goodbye to the sunny afternoon. If he gets a hold of me, there's an 86.76% chance I will never see my parents again. 85.34% I'd never get to see the Sai again, she said, and a light hiccup escaped her. Jess didn't know what to say. She tried anyway. I'm sorry. Dina nodded slowly, asking a question herself. Maybe she was. There's a 97.87% chance you are, Dina said, sounding surprised at her own words. Her brown hair looked ruffled, like she hadn't slept. Jess thought a comb could fix that. Pity they didn't have the time. I don't want to kill out there, but there are men here, and Jess began but was cut off when passenger came in. Yo, sweet chicks, let's go. There's time's a-ticking, passenger drawled. Dina backed away from him, first behind the couch, then towards the window that formed the back wall. Passenger turned to her, smiling like an angel. A fallen one. This, sir? Grab her and let's get going, Cupcake, passenger said, motioning for Circus to step forward. Circus did so and looked down at the little girl she was looming over. Don't struggle. This won't hurt, Circus said, looking at Dina. The girl was pressed against the glass window, almost looking like she'd rather pass through and fall to her death than go with them. Maybe she would. Passenger snored. Nice of you to warn her, but seriously, let's go, he said, turning to leave. Circus looked Dina in the eye and then Jess winked at her. I wasn't talking to her, Jess said, spinning around, grabbing the table lamp, and still, in one smooth motion, she smashed against the man's unprotected head, reaching for it and grabbing the gun from his waistband as he fell to the ground unconscious. Jess turned, wiped her sleeve on her face, the makeup smearing in a horrible way, pulled to one side, but actual skin was now visible on the other. Jess held out a hand to Dina. Come with me if you want to live, she said, cracking a smile. Always wanted to say that, Jess mused. Dina smiled weakly and took her hand. You're rescuing me? She asked confusedly. Jess looked around for another way out. No luck, sadly. If she had to commend Coyle on anything, he was a fucking good planner. I know, terrible, right? I used to be a badass until I made these friends. Well, Sab doesn't think I'm her friend, but I know better, Jess said, talking to Dina in an attempt to keep her own heartbeat steady. Jess poked her head out the door and saw a driver coming out of the next room to hers. Jess quickly pushed Dina behind the door and looked annoyed. So how long will we go to stand here? Smiles ran off with the girl down the long-ass stairs, Jess said, sounding pissed. Driver looked at her and pulled a phone, moving toward the stairs. The moment he turned, Jess poked his back pocket with a little white card inside, and it vanished into her bag. Jess smiled. Stealing for a good cause for once. Just call her fucking Robin Hood. As she retreated briefly, she shook her head. That was something she never thought would happen. As the pounding of feet let Jess know the guards had fallen for it, at least for now, she grabbed Dina and bolted for the door, pulling the little girl behind her. Just hoped Dina didn't look too hard at the bodies, but they didn't have time to waste. Reaching the elevator, Jess swiped the card, reached inside and pushed the basement before jerking back out again. Then she turned and ran, moving down the hall as fast as she could manage with Dina in tow. Just as they were reaching the far end, she heard driver shout a warning, and steps coming back up the stairwell. Turning, Jess spotted him and the two plainclothes aiming guns at them. Placing herself between Dina and the bullets, Circus knew this was a bad idea, but Jess told her to shut up and fucking deal with it. Good gentlemen and single lady of the audience, I present to you my final trick of the evening, Jess cried, making the three stooges wary. The boss won't be happy about this, driver warned her. Jess ignored him. I shall make my young assistant here disappear, Jess said, and her hand appeared a giant inflatable bouncy castle, completely filling the hall, making it almost impossible to pass. Let's go, she urged, and punched the button on the civilian set of elevators there, making the doors open. Huh. Who knew they'd actually still be working on emergency power? Again, pressing down. This time, she selected ground floor. Couldn't hurt to try and trick again, right? What was that? Dina asked, panting as they jogged upwards. Jess blew out a sigh as she pulled Dina into the stairwell next door. Much nicer that the service set at the far end. My favorite bouncy castle. Got it in Boston for a great deal, she said, while pulling out her phone. Tapping in a number, she waited. Circus, is the mission done? Coyle asked smoothly. Jess rolled her eyes at the dark, sinister tone Coyle liked to use. Fucking wannabe. No, but I am. This is my final notice. For the compensation of having to put up with you longer than 5 fucking minutes. I think I'll take this awesome thinker I found at the hotel for myself, Jess said gleefully. Coyle made a nose like a deflating balloon, all farty-like. Circus, you are making a huge mistake. I could make you rich. I have anything you want, found and brought in. Just tell me what it will take. What is your price? The villain asked. Jess was sure he was standing now, probably pacing back and forth in front of some big mahogany desk. Probably even had a bookcase with secret exit in behind him, too. Still, she made a sound of thinking, a deep sound. Dina looked up at her sharply. Jess raised an eyebrow. Dina shook her head fiercely, which Jess nodded at with a smile. Dina rolled her eyes and kept running. All right, Coyle. You got Google open? Jess asked curiously. Coyle seemed to relax at that, his breathing sounding extra controlled again. A few clicking noises echoed over the phone. Continue, Coyle said, as if he anticipated this. What a fucking amateur. Right. What I want is on this site. But it's got a code name, so type in Blue Wah. Just finished the word in a whisper so Dina couldn't hear. Coyle read it aloud in a tone of amusement in his voice. Yeah, right. Is the first link, Jess said, as they passed the floor 22, the top floor, and kept going. Right. I will see. Oh, God, what is that? Coyle recoiled on the phone. Jess laughed wildly, feeling vindictive, and for the first time in so long, free. It's my feelings for you, Coyle. I fucking quit, and I'm taking Dina, and I hate your stupid code words. They're stupid. Jess said it and then hung up. The phone immediately lit up again. Coyle's number. And Jess dropped it over the side and into the void between the stairs. All 22 stories of it. Who is that? The number said you'd be making him angry, Dina asked, wanting to know. Jess looked down at her and beamed. That, my dear Dina, was a turd. There was a thundering of footsteps behind her, and Jess urged Dina out onto the open roof. Pity they hadn't fallen for the elevator trick. Some mercenaries were too smart for their own good. Following Dina through the door, Jess came out onto the roof. It was a flat piece of concrete with nothing much on it. Just a few aircon units and a water tower too far away to be of any use. The three stooges had probably followed the elevator down. Then someone actually used their brain and realized she'd sent the other elevator down too. She probably shouldn't have tried the same trick twice, but in hindsight, it was 2020 and all that shit. Still, today was a brand new day, Jess thought as she turned back towards them, her knife in hand. Pushing Dina behind her, she dug through her bag in her mind and found a metal tube. Pulling it out, she sat down like a barrier, steel top facing the door. Get down and stay down. If someone grabs you, bite and scream, Jess told Dina firmly, pushing the girl behind the impromptu cover. Dina looked at her with wide, worried brown eyes. What about you? Dina asked shakily. Jess gave her a smile, walking so she stood in front of the table, waiting for any sign of rescue. Going down would mean getting trapped in a sub-basement, but up here, it gave Jess options. Me? I'm gonna be a fucking hero. And that was the interlude for Circus and Ash. Now again, my personal opinion is always that I love this because I'm a huge fan. But I would just like to say a huge thanks to Nicholas Medoro for doing the art on this. If you are interested in his style of art, there is a link down below. Hit it up. He's awesome. Again, there's also a link to the original story, Stewart's Ash. And yeah, I just want to thank both Stewart and Nicholas and D2R for the base outline of the images. Thank you, everyone, for your participation in this. And I'm just hoping we can get people to see this because this is a truly good story. And all the power to a writer who actually is just really damn good. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one because I want to do more of these, honestly. They're just fun. Later.